And let's turn now to Marie Weidmayer. She is the editor-in-chief for the state, MSU's student newspaper. So, Marie, what was your reaction when you heard of Engler's firing?
We were very surprised to hear that he was going to resign after the board did call for the meeting. And we were actually in the middle of our print production, so we had to quickly add 4 pages of production to our newspaper in order to bring about the fact that Engler was resigning.
And again, his resignation, not his firing. Let me ask you as well, what's been the student body's reaction to this?
I think a lot of the student body is reacting like it took them long enough. Again, there's been calls for his resignation since the first day he took office. So I think students really just wanted to see this happen sooner, but there is also the idea of thankfulness that Engler is gone.
So now there is a new leader, at least on an interim basis, Dr. Satish Upta. What do you know about him? What is his temperament like that, say, might be different from John Engler?
So he's been a dean at MSU for quite a while. He was the dean of the College of Engineering until 2013, and then he became the executive vice president. So I know a lot of students do speak about how he was a great leader. We have a bunch of state news articles talking about how he brought more females into the engineering program and how he brought all these different new things to the college that everybody seemed to love.
So is there a sense that there will be a change of tone in the way survivors are addressed?
There's definitely a hope that there'll be a change. I don't know how many people have any expectations of the university going forward, because time and time again, when people have had expectations of the university to make positive change, it's fallen flat.
Let me ask you this. You know, it seems like so many people, and John Engler is just really the latest of people that just seem to be in power but not really communicate effectively with the survivors, almost in many cases blaming, sometimes attacking. Why do you think there is that disconnect? And what do you think needs to change to establish a true, genuine, positive connection?
I think one of the things that need to change first is more transparency. The Attorney General's office started an investigation into MSU at the bequest of MSU, but now there's hundreds of documents being withheld by the university that the AG's office said they need to complete the investigation. So without those documents, without the transparency of Michigan State moving forward, there's never going to be that level of trust. No matter how many conversations people in power have with the survivors, with people who are asking for change, there will be no change unless MSU is more transparent.
So how do the students intend to hold this administration accountable, in your opinion?
I think that students will continue to ask for change, to show up to the board meetings, to continue. There's been marches and rallies since Engler took office, so I think those kinds of things will happen as we move forward, just in hopes that MSU will be held responsible this time.
All right, and as Dan mentioned earlier, John Engler facing some questions from the Michigan Attorney General's office. We'll see where that goes as well. Marie, thank you. So let's welcome in Kaylee Lorincz. She's a former gymnast and a survivor of Larry Nassar. Now, Kaylee, what's very interesting about your story is that John Engler previously denied having a discussion with you without your lawyer about settling in this case. It was one of the things we saw in Senate hearings that he repeatedly denied over and over again. So when you saw him resign yesterday, what went through your mind?
You know, I was a little bit disappointed that he had the chance to be able to resign rather than the board firing him, but, you know, this should have happened a long time ago, and so, you know, we need to think about today and right now, and I'm very grateful that John Engler is no longer a part of Michigan State University, and I really think now that the university, the survivors, and all of the community at MSU can start moving forward.
Why do you think it didn't happen until now?
You know, I think that I think the board was just being a little bit cautious, and I think that with everything going on, I think that they were hoping that Mr. Engler would maybe change his ways and start, you know, making the turn to say nice things and really, you know, make those improvements at Michigan State University, and sadly, that just never happened.
Why do you think that Mr. Engler had this what seemed like a bit of an antagonistic tone, a bit of a defensive tone when it came to survivors?
You know, I ask myself that question a lot lately, and the only thing that I can really think of is that John Engler got away with bullying as the governor, and so I think that he thought that he could carry that with him as the president of a university, and that just doesn't work that way. And especially, you know, just speaking to students that way or staff that way, but especially with survivors of sexual assault, and it just, that wasn't the way to handle this. And I think that's really where it all went wrong, was that he just had a poor choice of words and he didn't think that that would have such a big effect, and it did.
So now Dr. Satish Upta takes over. I know your mom was at the hearing this morning and had good things to say about him. If he's watching right now and trying to figure out a way forward with survivors, what would you like to say to him?
You know, first I want to say that I am very grateful that he is stepping into this position. I have not had the chance to speak with him, but I've heard such great things about him. And, you know, we really need transparency, and, you know, I really hope that he will waive attorney-client privilege. And I think that's, you know, two of the biggest things that we're really looking for right now, to be able to move forward and start our healing process that we have been hoping to start for a very long time. And I think, you know, today moving forward, I really think that that healing process can start to happen.